Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. Hi, Tub.
Hi, Pickle. I thought of something last night while I was on my run.
Okay.
Shout out to the Brewer Bears. No, not Brewer. That's wrong. Oh, wow, that was... I'm sorry. Shout out to the Boswell Pioneers. I was thinking Fort Worth area schools that are not actually Fort Worth ISD with the last name, with the second name that is B.
Out here asking for presenting
My
sponsors and then can't even remember which ones they are.
My bad. It's the Boswell Pioneers.
A shame.
Shout out to the Boswell Pioneers.
Shame on you.
Why was Brewer on my mind? Because Brewer's in White Settlement and Boswell's in Saginaw. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, I was thinking about this last night. Do you believe in ghosts?
I guess.
Like,
I don't really think about that.
you don't think about, like, hauntings? Do you think, like, okay, do you think that places are haunted?
Yeah, sure, why not?
For the sake of argument, you're going to say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Would you live in a house that somebody had been murdered in?
I mean...
Like, let's just say...
It's not one of those things they typically just put on Zillow, so...
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
what I'm saying is, like, let's say, hypothetically, because right now you live in an apartment, right?
yeah.
Okay. Let's say that you're ready to buy a home. You're ready to buy a home.
Yeah.
You're going on Realtor.com or Zillow or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
You find this house. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's right in your price range. It's like, in fact, it's lower. It's on the low end of your price range, right?
Yeah.
Everything's lining up perfectly. Great location, all these things, right? On a cul-de-sac, which I know you value.
Oh, yeah. That's me.
It's got a basketball hoop in the cul-de-sac.
Okay, basketball hoop helps.
Okay.
Cul-de-sac is washed.
But you get there, and you're like, I'm going to go for a walkthrough. You sign up for a walkthrough. You go through. And the realtor says, just one thing. There was a murder upstairs.
I mean...
Now you would never know it if they hadn't told you. Like,
right.
Like they've cleaned it up and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I would be pretty ticked off.
Would you live in a murder house?
Yeah. I mean, if everything lined up right, there's nothing I can do about it.
You can not live there.
Yeah, but...
Like, is that a deal breaker for you?
No.
Is murder a deal breaker for you?
No, as bad as that sounds, no.
No. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, when I think of, like, haunted, I think of, like, old school houses that have been around for years and blah, 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 like out in the country on a pasture type of,
so you're talking like
creepy...
the novel, like
yeah.
the film version of a haunted.
Yeah,
you're talking like the house from Psycho.
Yeah, exactly. I never would put just the fact that someone was murdered there, like, I mean, R.I.P., but I would never put that as like, oh, this house is haunted now. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, but I guess my question is, would it bother you that somebody had been murdered in that house?
It would bother me that the realtor would tell me that.
Maybe take away the haunted part. Maybe there's two different would it
Okay.
make you uncomfortable to live in a house that somebody had
Yeah,
been murdered
I mean,
in?
that's not necessarily like great, but again, if everything else with the house lined up, it's one of those things like being a realist, if you can't find another thing that lines up that well in all assets, like, okay.
Because the reason I ask is, so I watched a wonderful documentary series. It's on HBO. I think it's on HBO Max. It is it's about Heaven's Gate, the Heaven's Gate cult stuff, and I'm super into those. They're not cults, but I'm super into like documentaries about cults.
Let's go ahead and clarify that real fast.
I'm like cult documentaries. Very into it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about because I don't know if you know the story of the Heaven's Gate folks, but there was a mass suicide there and stuff like that. And I don't remember how many people it was, but there were a lot who committed suicide in that house. And I started thinking, because apparently this house is 9,200 square feet. Okay, it is a mansion.
Jeez.
A huge house in San Diego. It's only, like, the last time it was on the market, it was only $668,000. In San Diego, 9,200 square feet. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
But
There's a lot going on.
Little bit of a caveat here. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was a grand total of 39.
You know, maybe why I'm kind of like just about it is I don't like scary stuff. Like I don't like scary movies.
You don't like scary movies?
I don't do that. So I'm a firm believer in ignorance is bliss at this point, and I would rather just not know.
Yeah, but
everyone's saying they have to disclose it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
here's the problem.
I'd just rather that they
But
didn't.
here's the problem with that. Okay, let's say especially a place like that, like the Heaven's Gate house.
Oh yeah.
Even if you don't know, like even if everybody, like the realtor hides it from you and all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
The moment you talk to a neighbor,
oh yeah,
that is the first thing they're mentioning.
Well, and that's
it's
one
kind
of
of like
those...
trying to go as long as you can without finding out who won the Super Bowl. Like it's
yeah,
not gonna work.
It's not gonna happen.
Everyone's gonna talk about it.
The other thing about that is that one obviously it happened like a bunch, and two, if it's a 92,000 square foot house,
9,200.
Or 9,200, sorry.
92,000.
I was like, hang on, I said that wrong. 9,200 in San Diego, and it's like cheap and stuff. Clearly, I know something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean. Yeah, you'd have to ask, like, what's the catch?
yeah, like, you know something is wrong with it.
Come on, foundation issues.
Yeah, come on, foundation issues. Not
you know?
suicide murder issues,
not,
you know?
Yeah, not the Hale-Bopp comet is causing us to fall asleep in our bed all at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wild stuff.
The Heaven's Gate documentary on HBO Max is really good. It's super interesting. So check that out. Hit the theme expo. Let's go! Free money! Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. I think we're on YouTube. Are we on all the places now?
Yep.
Yeah! We're on TexasFootball.com and YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. So hi to all of you wherever you're watching us. My name is Greg Tepper. I am the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com or on Facebook, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy.
Hi, Ashley.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Things going okay?
Yeah.
You
Going.
eating? Does your mom ever like bug you about like whether or not you're eating enough?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because like
my whole family does.
And I'm not saying that about you personally. I'm saying that I think that's a mom thing.
Yeah.
Is like every mom, like you don't gotta worry about me putting away the groceries, but like my mom would be like, "Are you eating enough?"
Yeah,
honey.
My mom doesn't usually ask because she knows pretty well. I would say more it's like my grandma and my aunts and stuff. Like
it's big grandma energy.
Yeah, my mom
enough?
knows like I put away food.
Yeah.
I mean, she saw that for 18 years.
Yeah.
So she knows.
She's got the receipts.
Yeah, she literally has the receipts from me being a hungry teenager, so she knows. But yeah, my aunts and grannies and stuff, they like to
because that was
which happy birthday, Granny, by the way.
Hey, happy birthday, Granny!
Throwing that out there.
Happy birthday, Granny. I think that's big grandma energy, and it didn't help that my dad's side of the family is super Irish, and so it's Irish grandma whose maiden name was McEwen, who, like, whenever we would come over, she would be like, I am extremely concerned that you are going to starve to death in my house.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. You need to eat. Like, it
Yeah.
was more order than it was suggestion.
Well, my granny had 13 siblings, and there were 10 boys and 3 girls, and my great grandmother passed away when she was pretty young, so she used to make all the food for all the boys. So she has been used to making just buttloads of food for her entire life, and so yeah, we never went short of food in Granny's house.
Yeah,
that's a big factor there.
But here's the funny thing is that, like, and I probably will talk about football in a moment, but my dad got it from his mom of, like, we come over and he's like, you gotta eat. Like,
yeah.
What's wrong with you? Why? Like, if you are not eating in his house,
it's almost disrespectful.
It's like,
it seems like,
are you feeling okay? Like,
yep.
Do I need to call an ambulance or something like that? Anyway, today is Thursday, February 15th, 2021, 273
February
days.
25th.
February 25th. Take 2.
You're 10 days behind there.
3, 2.
Oh, no.
Today is Thursday, February 25th, 2021. 273 days till Thanksgiving. Episode 1115. That's where it came from.
There we go.
1115. This is the number of batters faced by Tim Crabtree in his illustrious Texas Rangers career. On today's show, my friends, we are going to do our college college coaches hot seat ratings.
We're coming off the rails here.
Looking at the 12 FBS coaches in the state of Texas, where do they sit as far as the hot seat is concerned? How safe are their jobs? We will measure that out, discuss that. And the back half of the show is Big Guest Thursday. We got a big guest. We got Panhandle like royalty.
Yeah.
Eric Mims, the new head coach of the Amarillo Palo Duro Dons, who of course is coming from being the offensive coordinator, very successful offensive coordinator at Duncanville, is going home to his alma mater. We talked with Eric Mims earlier today, had a great conversation. This guy, I really can't stress enough that, like, there's guys who go and coach their alma maters, and then there's guys like Eric Mims who went to elementary school down the street from Palo Duro High.
Yeah.
Like, he is true blue PD country. And it is super cool. It is his first head coaching job, and you can tell how excited he is about that.
Awesome.
So we talked with Coach Eric Mims. That's coming up here at the back half of the program. Do a first 4 through the door.
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Ryan Smiga, Aaron Flynn, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas. Also, I just want to say, I don't think I've ever given my opinion on much like mascot stuff, but I think the Palo Duro Dons have a fantastic mascot.
Choice.
Like,
it's really cool.
That's got to be in my top 10.
And
I've never given my top 10, but I think that's in it.
Well, tomorrow's fun
I
topic
could do
Friday.
that.
Maybe we're doing Pickle's top 10 mascots. I know I already did mine in episode 1000.
Yeah.
That was 115 episodes ago. Oh my God, what am I doing in my life? All right, Pickle. It's the off season, and there's I think we've pretty much stopped with the coaching carousel in college football, barring something unforeseen. Of course, we've seen that happen. We've seen that happen in the state of Texas in this decade. But barring something unforeseen, it is pretty clear that we will have the 12 FBS coaches in the state of Texas going into 2021, I should say. I believe there was only, do I have this right? There's only one change. Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of them on their second year.
Yeah.
Dave Aranda, Jeff Traylor.
Yeah, a lot of them are in their second year. But there's only one new coach, Steve Sarkisian at Texas. Obviously, it's pretty notable. But I would say that, everybody likes to talk about, I don't know how comfortable I ever feel about people talking about people losing their jobs. It doesn't feel like fun. But it's something that I think is worth taking into the tapestry of what
I think it's worth talking about. I don't think it's worth celebrating.
I think that's a good way to put it.
I don't like when people celebrate.
It's something worth acknowledging, but I don't think it's like, oh, they got to get this guy out of here.
They are humans too.
I think it's worth
level.
But I do think it's worth recognizing that there are circumstances that are going to make some coaches' 2021 season a lot more important than others. For example, and I'm going to spoil part of it here, but if Jeff Traylor were to go 0-12 at UTSA next year, I don't think Jeff Traylor's going to 0-12 at UTSA. But if he were to go 0-12 at UTSA, still probably okay.
Yeah, I don't think
he's going
anywhere.
Okay, but there are other guys that if they were to have a poor season,
they could get fired in the middle of the season.
They could lose their job. So we're going to take a look at the 12 FBS coaches in the state of Texas, give a little bit of the coaching hot seat rankings. And Pickle made a graphic.
I did.
Good job, Pickle.
We had to cut it into 2.
So we're going to start. We're going to go from the safest to the most in danger. And so we've got, I think, broke down into 5 different categories. We're going to start with the ice cold, very cold seat. I think there are 4 coaches who are 100% safe for 2020 or to coach the same team in 2022. Of course, that is barring them, scandal. That's barring them taking another job, et cetera, et cetera.
This is just on the field results.
This is on the field results. I think Jimbo Fisher at A&M is pretty darn safe.
Yep.
Part of it is that he signed that guaranteed contract. Part of it is that A&M's cooking. Part of it is all these things. I think Jimbo Fisher could go 0-12, and I think that there would be people who would cock an eyebrow in College Station.
College Station might set on
what's
fire.
What's going on? But I don't think Jimbo Fisher is going anywhere. Steve Sarkisian, I would also put it cold. I just don't think that it would take a really, really unforeseen circumstance for them to cut bait with a coach that they just paid $5+ million after 1 year.
Yep.
That just doesn't happen. Sonny Dykes, I think, is 100% safe at SMU. What he's done there, I think, is very impressive. Even though we had him on the show and he was like, it could have been better. I think most SMU fans and I think the SMU kind of brain trust is pretty darn pleased with having Sonny Dykes there.
Especially with the recruits he's bringing in, too.
Yes. The same goes for Jeff Traylor at UTSA. I think he's 100% safe. I think part of it is that he's in his second year, and the first year was so good, and the recruiting's picking up. Everything's pointing in the right direction for Jeff Traylor. I just don't see something going cataclysmically wrong that would cause them to be like, we have to get rid of Jeff Traylor. So I think that Jeff Traylor is pretty darn safe. So then we go to Cool, and I'm going to be honest, both of these guys I think are also a lot closer to cold than they are to, like, room temperature, which is the next one. But I got 2 there. Dave Aranda at Baylor. He's entering his second year. I think it's fair to say that his first year was not good.
No.
But I just don't see them, like, look, this cool means that if they go 0-12, then maybe. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If Baylor goes 0-12, Baylor might look around and be like, oh, is Dave Aranda the right guy? I would be pretty shocked by it, but there's that. The other side of that is Gary Patterson, who, of course, is the second longest tenured college football coach in America, only behind Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. Gary Patterson ain't going anywhere.
No.
I think the 2020 season for them was middling, if a little bit disappointing. But I don't think he's going anywhere. If they were to go 0-12, maybe there would be some people who say, oh, has Coach Patterson lost his edge? Is it time to move on? I don't see it happening. I think you could really lump all 6 of these guys into, like, almost certainly not. But I would say that Aranda and Patterson are maybe a half step above the other 4 who I think are 100% safe. I think these guys are like 99% safe.
Yeah, I don't think Gary's going anywhere until Gary decides that Gary's going somewhere.
I think that's the case too, but figured I would differentiate.
Right.
Okay. So then we go, so that's half the coaches. Here's the other half. Let's go with room temperature. Room temperature, I think Mike Bloomgren, our buddy, Mike Bloomgren, I think he's in an okay spot. I really do. I think that they're building something there at Rice. I think that they're pointing in the right direction. I think that that things are going well. Now, if things were to reverse course and they were to really take a huge step back this year, there are circumstances in which it's not totally outside the realm of possibility that he would lose his job. Because this is the third year for him, right? Generally speaking, if you're within your third year, in your
3 years is always the
I would say,
ladder.
And so as a result, I just don't think that, I think Mike Bloomgren is almost certainly safe. But there are some circumstances in which, like, you could say, oh, well, he's been there for 3 years. We haven't seen the progression that we want. It would give the powers that be the permission structure to fire him. I don't think that's going to happen.
He needs the hooting to intensify.
Correct. He needs much more hooting. Jake Spavital at Texas State is in a similar situation. I think that they are going to be. I think that the Texas State brain trust is on board with what Spav is doing, But the results have not been there. Let's be honest. The results have not been there. He's now entering that all-important third season there at Texas State. And I think that it would probably behoove him to show some progress. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I think that they believe in what he's going to be, what he's doing there. But I do think that Jake Spavital is a guy to keep an eye on him in that room temperature situation.
And it seems like this is a bit, with a lot of his seniors coming back and taking that COVID grant year, this is one of those where you got to take advantage of that. You can't be given a present like that and not use it.
Totally agree. So then we get to the warm seat. And I think there's two guys who I put on the warm seat. One of them's Matt Wells at Texas Tech. I almost put him on the hot seat, but I also don't think that's necessarily the case. He's entering year 3. I think it's fair to say that they have not had the results on the field that they were wanting to so far. If they have another bad year, if they have a year worse than this past year, I think there's a real argument. I think there's a real chance that they fire Matt Wells. That would be 3 years. They haven't made progress. The recruiting has been okay, but not spectacular. That would be something that I would say Matt Wells is on the warm seat. Dana Holgorsen, I think, is the same way. Dana Holgerson's in it. We talked at length about that. He's had 2 super weird years at Houston. 2 super weird years. 2019, he goes out there. De'Aaron King redshirts in the middle of the season. They decide to leave him, blah, blah, blah. They kind of do this weird thing where I don't want to say they tank, but like things fall apart for them. And so then they go into 2020. 2020, I probably don't have to tell you, things are super weird.
Right.
They have a ton of games canceled, a ton of things going on, but on the field results were not good. They were, Sean J. Raja has a piece up on TexasFootball.com about this. They were irrelevant in 2020. I think that he needs to show some progress. The reason I look at Dana Holgorsen and say maybe there's a little bit of danger there, they're paying him a good amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
And Houston has made it very well known where their expectations are. And I think it's also fair to say that he has not met those expectations through the first 2 years. If they have a bad year, if they take a step back, I could see Houston cutting bait with Dana Holgorsen.
And I think it's another one of those things. If you have a third year where the head coach just doesn't really have like a structure to the program, it's like, okay, there's a major disconnect here that's a lot worse than just not being prepared on the field. Like, he's got to build some kind of identity for those athletes.
I agree. So then we got 2 guys that I think are on the hot seat. One of them is kind of amazing to think about, but Seth Luttrell.
Yeah.
Think back 3 years ago. Think back where we were heading into the 2019 season. So really, 2 years ago.
Yep.
They were coming off of their second consecutive 9-win season. Things were very clearly looking great. I think it's also fair to say the last 2 years have been not good.
Yep.
And I think a third consecutive disappointing season could be the end of Seth Luttrell's tenure in Denton.
Yep.
I think we're getting to that point where he's got to show some show some progress and prove that this is a program that is a lot more like 2017 and 2018 than they were like 2019 and 2020.
Oh yeah, he was the hot young coach on the rise.
I thought he was going to leave.
He got an offer from Kansas State and turned it down because he wasn't able to bring his staff with him, and now you feel bad for things like that because you look back and think, man, did I miss my shot there?
Maybe. But, I mean, we also know how talented he is, and he can bounce that back in a big way. And then there's one more, and it's Dana Dimmel at UTEP.
And this is so hard.
So Dana, so I think we've talked at length on this program about this, that UTEP is a uniquely tough situation to win in. And I think that's why there were a number of people who were like, after 3 years, they're going to get rid of Dimmel. They're going to get rid of Dimmel. From what I understand, they wanted to make sure they gave him 4 years. Well, this is year 4. Right now, in 3 seasons, he has won 5 games. Now, look, they were better this past year. Went 3-5.
Yeah.
That's it's crazy to say it's a step in the right direction, but when the 2 years before that were 1-11, you take progress where you can get it. I think 2021's got to be a good year for UTEP. I think it's got to be, at best, or at worst, no worse than last year.
Yeah.
And they've got to show that the trains are on the tracks here, or else I do think that it may come time for Dana Dimmel to go. I mean, they gave Sean Kugler, I think they gave Sean Kugler, they fired him in the middle of 2017. They gave him 5 seasons. UTEP does tend to, but they only gave Gary Nord 4 seasons, right? UTEP does, like their history has shown that they do want to stick with guys through a full recruiting cycle, which would be 4 years. Well, this is the big year. I think this is the really, really, really important year for UTEP, and I think Dana Dimmel's got to show something, in order to keep his job. So that's where I'm at. Your mileage may vary. That's what I think is the hot seat rankings heading into 2021. We will see what happens there. But anyway, there's that. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Pickle, it's Big Guest Thursday. We've got a very, very, very big guest this week. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to talk with the new head coach of the Amarillo Palo Duro Dons, Coach Eric Mims. Here's my conversation with the new head Don, Eric Mims, on Texas Football Today.
We're spending the off season getting some big name guests on the show, and we can't pass up an opportunity to talk to, let's just say, a celebrity out there in the Panhandle. We go to Amarillo to talk with the head coach, the new head coach, the Amarillo Palo Duro Dons. It's Coach Eric Mims. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing better than I deserve. How about yourself?
I'm doing excellent. First and foremost, congrats on the gig. For folks who don't know, your ties to Amarillo and the Palo Duro community run so deep. I know it means a lot to you to get the job. I'm interested. When you found out that you were getting the job, what was your reaction?
Man, everything happened so fast. We were still playing. We were playing in South Lake. The week that all of this started taking place, and ended up losing to South Lake, and so I really kind of got serious about this process after that. And my family and I, we were excited about the opportunity. It's an exciting deal. It's an exciting time. Head coaching jobs are hard to come by. You can have great resumes and done a lot of good things, and there's jobs I've applied for and didn't even get interviewed. So to be selected, it's an honor and a privilege. And man, I was just excited and knew that this was purpose that God had for me, and where He needed me to be at this time.
Well, and of course, we mentioned your deep ties. You went to Palo Duro High School. You went to elementary school down the street. I mean, this is your town. This is your part. This is where you grew up. What has been the reaction from the community that you've since you've arrived back? Because sometimes you hear coaches say it's hard to go home again, but I'm interested. What's been the reaction from the community since you've arrived back home?
Oh man, nothing but love. Everywhere I go, I see somebody I know, and it's always a welcome home. We're glad to have you back. We got you back. We support you. We're excited to have you. So, man, it's been good. Whether I'm in the grocery store, at a basketball game, wherever I'm at, man, I'm seeing guys that I grew up with. I'm seeing guys a little older, a little younger, and they're all excited for me for the opportunity that I've been afforded, and those guys got my back, and they're supporting me, and they want to see us do well over here at PD.
We're talking with Eric Mims, the new head coach of Palo Duro here at Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, you are taking over a program that, let's be honest, it's in need of a jolt. It's been a couple of rough years recently. When you first addressed your team as the head coach, what was your message to them?
When I first addressed those guys, I let them know that my vision was to make PD a winner again. And I let those guys know that I didn't have any magic fairy dust or any special anointing oil that I was just going to come in and touch everybody with, and we were going to turn into winners. I let them know it's going to be a lot of hard work. And we've got to get in the weight room. We've got to get bigger, faster, and stronger. We've got to start looking like the good teams body-wise. And we've got to start thinking like the good teams mentally. And we've got to start executing like them. So we're playing catch up. There's programs that are years ahead of where we are, and they're doing things on exceptional levels. And that's our plan, and that's our goal. And, you know, I told our kids that this is a similar situation for me. When we went to Duncanville, Cedar Hill and DeSoto were the big dog, and people thought Coach Samples was crazy for going to a Duncanville, and they said that all three couldn't be powerhouses, and that Duncanville wouldn't be. And so it's a similar situation with Amarillo High and Tascosa. Right now, those guys are far superior than us. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to come in and change the tide and have a changing of the guard, just like we did at Duncanville. And I know it's possible.
You mentioned Coach Samples. You were, of course, their offensive coordinator for Duncanville the past couple of years. You were with him at Skyline before that, and obviously, I think Reginald Samples is a guy who needs no introduction in Texas high school football realms. This is your first head coaching job. What did you learn from Coach Samples that you're going to carry with you into what you do at PD?
Man, I could write books and books and books on what I learned. He's the godfather of Dallas football. Everything from organization to structure to how to compete, how to motivate young men, how to organize winning programs, how the blueprint really, man, of just what it looks like going from a 2-8 team in the next year being 11-3. And being around Coach Samples, he just has this presence about him of what winning is and what hard work is and what it takes to compete at the highest level. And so, I'm just fortunate that I was with him for 9 years and able to take a lot of those processes and be able to replicate them here and get these young men playing at the level that we had the guys at Duncanville playing at.
I know you've been asked this before, but I'm very interested in asking you. You are, let's be honest, black head football coaches in Amarillo have been hard to come by.
Yeah.
And you are the first black head coach at Palo Duro. I'm interested in how you approach that. I'm interested in how that shapes the way you do business. Is that something that is important? Is it something that's special to you?
Yeah, it is. We're in 2021, and a lot of conversations about race we really shouldn't even have to have. And so it's still kind of quite funny to me sometimes that 2021 we're still having the first black this, the first black that, the first black, and you're going, it's 2021. So when you look at let me say how I want to say this. When I look at how important this is, not just for me, but for my community, when people are given opportunities, you don't carry an opportunity just for yourself, you carry it for the community. And so what I know is that I've got to do a great job on the field, off the field, in the community, or the next guy may not get a shot. The next Eric Mims, I can mess it up for everybody. It's huge, and I'm excited about the opportunity, and I've just got to do a great job being professional. I've got to do a great job of leading young men. I've got to do a great job of competing on the field, and that's one of my goals, is to help other young men like Eric Mims become the next head coach in the Panhandle, the Metroplex, wherever opportunities afford themselves. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But race aside, I just think that we've got to get the right people for jobs. And you still look at situations like Eric Bieniemy and you go, wow, guy can't even get a job, doesn't even get interviews sometimes. So I've been there. I've sat in that chair where I've applied for jobs in the Metroplex and didn't get interviews and go, well, we've been to back-to-back state championships and these guys won't even give me a call. And those districts were, the district was predominantly white district, but you know, I just felt that my resume spoke for itself, being able to work with young men, regardless of their color, their race, their nationality, their upbringing. I'm here to work with young men. And we have a good portion of Black young men. We have Hispanic young men here at Palo Duro. We've got some white kids also here at Palo Duro. And so it's a great mixing pot of America here at PD. And so it's a great privilege to be the first Black coach. I just want to do a great job.
Well, we're excited to see what you do, and you know, Coach, one thing I got to ask is you know, you're there back at PD, you're a 2000 graduate of the Dons, and you know, you were a star there for Palo Duro in your playing days. You went off, you played at Eastern New Mexico. You're in pretty good shape. I guess my question is, when we're getting practices going out there, are you going to be out there running with them? Are we going to be out there? Are you going to be out there running these drills as well?
You on a few things. I don't know if I was ever a star, and I know I'm not a good thing. No, you're not gonna catch Coach Mims doing much running. I'm 38 and feeling great, but I'm gonna lead a running to the younger guys. I've got a couple of younger coaches, and when we're doing some examples of some weight stuff in the weight room, you know, those first couple of days, I was giving the examples, and then I looked around and said, "Man, these guys are younger than me. I'm gonna let these guys be the example." And I remember being the young coach who was full of energy and out there racing kids and playing with those guys. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that to the younger coaches, and I'm gonna just try to get these kids where they can play on an exceptional level.
Coach, to follow up on a question that I had earlier, that sounds like something you learned from Coach Samples too. Because if there's one thing I know about what Coach Samples was always very good about is like, I'm going to be over here and I'm going to make sure the way he ran practice, like I'm going to make sure everything's running smoothly. But you guys run around. You guys do the running, not me. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, man, that's Coach Samples.
He's Eric Mims. He's the new head coach of the Palo Duro Dons. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the new gig. Can't wait to see what you guys do up there at PD.
Oh, man, I'm excited. My kids have been working hard. The coaches have been working hard. And so we want to shock some people this year. That's the plan.
There he is, Eric Mims, the new head coach of the Amarillo Palo Duro Dons. Very cool to see him back home. His dad's in like the Hall of Honor. His mom was like a star out there. I mean, that family has
so cool.
deep roots. Not just in Amarillo, but in like that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's super cool for him to go home and obviously really exciting for him. Excited to see what they do. And we'll talk about this on Monday when we do headlines, but after he told me after we stopped recording, he was like, "Oh, I want to give a shout out to my buddy DJ Mann. If you didn't hear, DJ Mann, the quarterbacks coach and recruiting coordinator for Cedar Hill, is going to go be the head coach at Lubbock Coronado, which is his alma mater. Mm-hmm. That is their first district game.
No kidding.
Is Eric Mims versus DJ Mann. Lubbock
cool
Coronado and Amarillo Palo Duro. He mentioned that to me, and so that'll be fun. Those are two buddies who know each other really well, so that'll be really fun to see. So congratulations to both Coach Mims and to Coach Mann on their new gigs at their alma maters.
Very cool.
And now we go to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Apparently something was up with the Facebook comments today. They weren't refreshing for literally anyone, so we don't have any extra comments today.
Well, let's check Twitch. Let's see if anybody commented on Twitch. Hold on.
I've looked at Twitch and YouTube, and there's no comments on there.
Okay. Pickle.
So
don't say the quiet part out loud. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at TCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCamels. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCamels. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Eric Mims, the new head coach at Amarillo Palo Duro, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow for Ashley Pickle's top 10 Texas high school football mascots and Mailbag Friday presented by our friends at North Texas Honda Dealers here on Texas Football Today.